All right, so we're gonna do that thing where I sit at my desk and there's a bunch of shit on my desk, and I talk about all the shit that is on my desk, specifically 3D printed parts, because I really love, the whole entire like economy of 3D printed parts that exists, specifically for Mythic Legions, because it's so incredibly creative and it gives you such an ability to kind of like make up your own character. And if you take a look, all these stickers, this is just a bunch of stores where I get 3D printed shit, like some of my favorites, like that Sub Pop Records. But simultaneously, like, you can't even see shit on my desk that I'm trying to show you because I'm totally fucking unprepared for this, because there are stickers everywhere. And clearly I should not even, I have no plan for this, and I should certainly not be making this up as I go along this early into me making videos. But I imagine that every video is probably going to be pretty fucking awkward and chaotic, and I'm certainly going to say the word fuck a lot because that's just punctuation for me. But they say to be your authentic self on camera, I guess, and I don't have much to offer other than chaos, awkwardness, and cursing. So whatever. If you're into like a vibe of like somebody hits the camera and because his arm itched and knock some shit over while filming, I hope I didn't need that, and like somebody else can probably do this better, that type of shit, like, and what the fuck is even happening, then strap in, because that's about where we're going. Anyway, so there was a point to this video, and that is 3D printed parts. So I'm going to do a lot of reviews of 3D printed parts, 3D printed kits, maybe a bunch of different head sculpts all together. There's not a full plan for that, but it's something I do really want to cover. I think it's like not talked about enough, really. Honestly, in the community, I think that it's something that we should talk about as much as action figures. And like, people do action figure reviews. I don't need to be doing that, because the last thing anybody needs is another person, reviewing an action figure. If nothing else, I'm just going to be moving my hands around. I think maybe people don't do it because, like, these are small businesses, right? So like, these are small businesses and people in the community. So like, I'm not going to do a review, quote unquote, more like it's going to be like a discussion, because, I'm certainly not going to trash somebody's product because it's a small business, and, or the sculptors in the community. Everybody has different opinions about these things. Nothing's necessarily bad. I don't like something, I'm not going to, talk about it, whatever. And I'm not going to necessarily fawn over everything, but that's, whatever. So what we have here, because that's actually the point of this video, is a kit that is from my friend Jason over at One Per Case. And yeah, this, full disclosure, it's from a friend, but he told me to trash this, like, if I didn't like it, which I'm not going to do. But just to get like the important stuff out of the way, that is actually his website and his Instagram name, so that you can find that shit, because I may forget to put it in the description below, as people say. Find the description below, link in the description below. And then here you have the sculptor of the head, Old School Customs. He does a great fucking job. People don't follow sculptors enough, I think, and like, it's great to see what they're making as they make it. Also, by the way, what you should be doing, if you're not, is you should tag every single time you post a custom the sculptor, because people don't ever do that, and the store, because they want to see what you're doing. But I have to talk about this sculpt. So first of all, before I get into why I have 3 heads here, this is like the first iteration of this sculpt. And this is, as I said, Old School Customs did this, right? So it's a really cool sculpt, and it's something called a kappa. I don't know if people know what this is. I didn't fucking know what this is. So I looked it up, and it is fucking crazy. I'm just going to hold this here so you can kind of look at what this dude looks like as I explain to you what I found out about it. has like an indent on the top of its head. You'll see that on other head sculpts. And it's a dish of water that is its source of power. And if you trick him into bowing and all the water comes out, then like he's your servant for life. So that's like a fucking dope, I guess, to get a servant that way, but also like shitty way to have all of your power. Their favorite foods are 1, cucumbers, 2, human anuses. And again, this is from like a website of Japanese mythology and or folklore, whatever. So eating human anuses, and that is right. Just you can let that sink in. And now this is the other thing, and it's the last thing I have to say about it because it's going to turn into health class. But what's really interesting about them that they have and humans don't is 3 anuses. So not only do they like to eat human anuses, they also have 3 anuses of their own. And to quote one of the websites I looked at, this allows them to pass, quote unquote, 3 times as much gas as a human. And so this is fucking great. This is what I would love to see really, is somebody make a custom with like 3 butts. And, you know, it's got like goblin ears, right? And so you can certainly paint this green, give this like a purple. Oh, that's what I was doing, I think. Paint this purple, and you can have like a swig, and then do a swig custom with 3 butts. I'm putting this out there right now. The person who gets this head sculpt and does that custom, and it is not going to be me, wins some sort of award. It's like the anus award. I don't fucking know. Anyway, this is the first iteration of this sculpt, and I'll tell you what I like about this sculpt. It came separated. This is how Old School made this, and it's great because for people like me who use an airbrush, right, this is a lot easier because then if I do something at the airbrush and I really like the way it came out and I fuck it up because I'm trying to paint in a corner, I don't have to go back over it because that shit drives me crazy. What's the point of even using an airbrush then? And then the other thing is, even if I don't use an airbrush, like if you're like me, but like in this sense, you're just really shitty at getting into corners, this is a pain in the ass. Like I think there are people who are really great at hitting those details, and that's awesome and good for you. I am not. And for me, it's like not a flex that I can't do that. I will admit that I'm not good at that shit. And I just don't want to be challenged to do it. It's not fun. I sound a lot more angry than I actually am about it. But, you know, I love that people are now doing things where it's easier to paint, right? So this is the sculpt as it came. It was changed a little bit by one per case, aka Jason, my friend. And I know it fucking fell, I think. But that's okay. We can get by without it. So he separated the head and this like lily pad hat and this like flowery thing that goes on top, which is like I guess a flower or a lily. I don't really know. So, and this is clear resin. Sometimes you can really see the detail a bit better. So just to appreciate the detail of the original sculpt by Old School. And this is sized up, I think, a little bit by Jason. Again, from one per case. I'm going to keep saying it like that. It's going to be super fucking annoying. But look, you get like a lot of, I have dirty nails from painting. That'll always be the case. A lot of detail in the skin there. So like all of that, like the kind of raised surfaces and, you know, I'm just hitting the phone again, my bad. It's just going to be really great for shading and for dry brushing. And like the hair and so on and so forth. But that's just the second iteration of this shit, right? So what Jason did is he made this kit for this character that he invented. And by the way, so if you go to his website, which is again onepercase.com, this character has a whole biography that he wrote that takes place in mythos, including like which of the evil 4 he's has an alliance with or allied to, or you know, whatever, works for, per diem, however that shit works. I'm not sure. But he did a little bit of extra stuff here. So you got, again, separate like flower thingy, right? This is separate. And then he went in, so make sure you can see this, right? And he did all of this. It's actually, is this too much light? That might be better. I'm not really certain. He did all of this extra sculpting, right, in the hair and it's like really, really nice. It looks really great. And again, like really great for shading and capturing all of that liquid, I guess, all of the shade. And so I primed this because I was going to paint it soon. But also I realized that priming it, you can really, really see like a lot of the detail, like, right? Look at this skin. You see that? All of those wrinkles. So this is a really, really well sculpted piece, I think. And there's a reason. Oh, I skipped something. He moved the hair, right? So check that out, right? Huge difference in that gap there. And I'm going to explain and show why, but let me just go over the rest of the kit. So we have pauldrons, right? Also, pauldrons are great, and I'll tell you, it's the same thing I said about everything else. Like, this is what's important to me when I paint. I really want to have a lot of texture to kind of like play with and get, you know, some sort of, you know, be able to dry brush and get paint into the crevices and really make it interesting looking. So this stuff here, right? Like this like rope is really good detail, well sculpted. I don't know who sculpted the pauldrons, but this stuff is raised up. It's hard to show, but it's raised up really high. So like that makes it A, easier to dry brush, and B, I mean, you're just going to get such a great looking final, you know, paint job because there's just so much definition in there for you to play with. And that is something that is like I just said a moment ago, one of my favorite things. And then if you're going to use color shift paints and you have a bunch of different shapes all over the place like this, all of these, you know, little pieces are going to trap some light and really like hit off, you know, wherever the light's coming from, and you get a cool effect from that. And that's different. We'll talk about color shift paints and Turbo Dork because I have a feeling that's the only reason anybody's here anyway. And fine, I got you, but not now. Finally, last part of the kit is the sword. Now you can get like this head in multiple colors, I believe. I think you can get the like flower thingy in red. His website has some different options. It's like a build-a-kit, so you can choose which parts you want, and it's different prices if you get different amounts of parts, because obviously it's a dumb thing to point out. The sword is super cool in this color, right? I like this because it's like super kind of like bendy. I feel safe, you know, bending it, which is a weird way to put it, but like I break everything. Legit, I break fucking everything. I am incredibly clumsy. Like I will shake paint and I will like it will fly out of my fucking hand into the air. And I paint in a basement, like not even a room, right? There is a bottle of paint from like a month ago. It's a bottle of Turbo because you gotta really fucking shake that shit. And like there is a bottle across my basement that is stuck in this pile of boxes from like an old apartment I used to live in. And I tried to find it and I fucking gave up because I had another bottle of it. And that is like a story about my life. So I hope you enjoy that little anecdote. And I'm just gonna point out the last thing I forgot to say. This kit is meant for the Mask of Red Death figure, which is like my favorite, probably figure from Four Horsemen Studios, or certainly one of them. And so the weird thing about this figure, though, is you do have a 1.0 neck and 2.0 like holes here to port the pauldrons in. So this is a 2.0 port, but this is a 1.0 neck hole, neck hole. Anyway, I'm going to put all this shit together off camera. All right, so like, first of all, did I just say the evil 4 and not the dark 4? Because I feel like I did, and that's dumb. And second of all, I just realized something, and I've had this to like mess around with. I actually have like 3 or 4 of these katanas because I really, really like them. And if I called it a sword earlier, also my bad. I know there are a lot of weapon nerds out there. It's a katana. So it's got like this kind of thing here, which I thought was to kind of like store it in the like the belt, this thingy. You know, like I don't have to tell most of you this, but this belt that's got this thingy to store it in. But actually, I think like it's for his hand to hold it because that's how it's displayed on onepercase.com. So I assume that's how the character is meant to use it. Now, obviously, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it because you bought it, and you can certainly put some there's a word I can't think of. Straps is the word. A strap. Fucking, I got lost for a moment completely. And, you know, put it across his back. You could put 2 across his back and Deadpool it. If that works, I'm not sure. Whatever you want to do. It's your world, it's your life, and I'm going to stop saying all that shit and get to this. So the thing you really need to do, actually, before I put this on, is get the pauldrons all the way fucking down, right? Like that. And then I'll show you why. This is really kind of cool and smart. And so the reason he separated the hair, right, I was talking about that, is because that shit fits right over that. You see that? It's like a perfect fit. So you need like a little bit of like tack, or you can do the hot glue method, which is much better. And I don't do nearly enough. That's something that I should do a tutorial of, unless somebody's already done it, because they probably did a better job. I'm pretty sloppy with that shit, but I'm pretty sloppy in general. I feel like that's not a great thing to say. Anyway, so here's the kit. Put this lily pad hat on. Yeah, I can't do it. What the fuck? I think I just got stupid. Been stupid. All right, so this is, now his name is Kuro, right? Kuro, I think I'm saying it right. I want to say he's the whisperer between tides, not the warrior between tides, not the prince of tides. And it's cool. I think it's a really cool kit. Like, honestly, not that when I say honestly, I don't mean like I would be lying, but like, it's interesting. It's an interesting character. I thought it was a really fucking interesting character before I found out what it was. Now I just look at it and I think this guy's got a sword to fucking cut up people and eat their anuses. And, you know, I kind of wish I didn't learn that little bit about, or like what a kappa is. And I'm just thinking, like, how does this even work? Like, anatomically, does he have 3 butts for 3 anuses? Or the 3 anuses like anus down the crevice? I mean, I'm asking the really hard questions here, guys. You know, if you have any ideas, or like if you know, or you just have a guess, please tell me in the comment section, because, you know, I would love to know what you think about that. And please, someone volunteer to make a swig with 3 anuses, one way or the other. Just don't make it too explicit. I think they frown upon that at Legion's Con, which is understandable. I also frown upon that. I'll say this. So this is my one like nitpick about it. Like I said, I'm not going to say like nothing but great things about every kit. Mask of Red Death is not a cheap figure. It's like $69 right now on Big Bad Toy Store as the retailer, like part of the retailer wave, right? So for me, like, I make a shit ton of customs. I'm always making customs. I like live, eat, and breathe this. That sounds like egotistical. It's not how I meant it, but like, I'm always working on shit. I've literally got like 20 figures, if not more, and like 3 vehicles just in the process of being made. Some of them will never get finished, but like, I don't want to spend $70 on a figure to make a custom unless I really fucking want to make it, right? So that's just me. So what you can do is you can go to Store Horseman right now for $37, grab a swig. Switch out the neck though, even though I said that this is for a 1.0 neck, it like doesn't really fit with these pauldrons well on the goblin neck. So if you take like, this is from, I don't know who this is from. It's from a human figure, as you can tell by the flesh tone, a lady. And also these arms are not goblin arms. I don't know what they're from. I don't know why the fuck my swig looks like this right now. I don't remember what I took apart and put together, but I do have another set of these pauldrons. So this is kind of dumb, but I was in the middle of painting these. So you have like this like swig with long arms and half painted like kind of cyberpunk pauldrons, and definitely very cyberpunk katana. But all of that aside, and looking out of place right now, this also fits on very nicely. You gotta be careful. The katana does, I fucking have got to stop hitting this ring light. Yo, I look like an idiot doing this. It'll slide out. Like, the sword slides in and out pretty easily and very nicely, right? Like, sliding. There's so so many ways that I could have chosen to say that were different and would have been better, but here we are. All of that said, back to like doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Fits over really nicely here with the pauldrons. And I'll be honest with you, like, I don't know about you guys, but I'll focus this a little bit better, but I like it on a goblin body more. I don't know if that's weird, because the head is so oversized, clearly, right? Like, and it actually stays on pretty well with this neck. I'm not really sure what's keeping it on. Maybe it's the hair. It's oversized, so oh fuck. It looks dumb, but like in a way that works and is kind of part of a character to me. Like, this is this big fucking headed, weird, bird-billed goblin with wearing a fucking lily pad head for no reason, with like samurai pauldrons and like a fucking katana. Why? And it just is funny. Like, I think you can do a lot with that character, and there's a whole bunch of weird biographies you can come up with as to why somebody would look, or like why a character would look this fucking weird. So, and then that's just me, like, right? Like, I certainly think that my taste in things is fucking out there and probably not what a lot of other people would do. But, I dropped myself on my own head many times growing up. So, anyhow, that's it. I think that's it, right? So, just to, I feel like I don't know if I made this clear, but I did make this clear. This is the important part. You should grab one of these. If you're not that into grabbing one of these, obviously it's everybody's taste. You should definitely look at like the selection that Jason has on his website, because there's a ton of really cool shit from a lot of different sculptors. And like, I feel like, I don't want to feel like I'm plugging someone. I truly do believe that. And again, this is like positive stuff for the community, because these are small businesses and you should certainly be looking at what they have to offer. And that's it. So like, I wasn't prepared to end this video and have something to say for some sort of closure. So, like, subscribe, comment, tell all your friends about this YouTube channel, tell your parents, call my parents and tell them that I did a great job and they should be proud of me. And, like, have a great night or day. And like, if you want to, like, have the day you want to have.